welcome to episode 20 of the Tiny Disc Podcast. I'm Robert Scarpanito, and I'm joined here by Jack Cepeda.
Hajime Mashite Watashi wa Jack Cepeda des. Bong bong.
I kind of didn't expect that to be that clean.
I'm a professional.
Oh, really?
No.
We also have Colin Sparling.
How's it going, everybody? So I want to ask you guys, how frequently do you guys go to a restaurant, more specifically any sort of like chain restaurant, like a sit-down restaurant, where, you know, you sit down at a booth or whatever, waitress takes your order, and you do that whole deal? How often would you say you do that?
Like once a month?
Oh, God.
I guess.
I go like once a week, multiple times a week usually.
Okay. So the reason why I asked is there was a story released a while back via Business Insider, right? Because it's a common trend nowadays to talk about how millennials are killing everything.
Of course.
So to go along with that trend, there was a story that they released basically saying that casual dining restaurants, you know, those type of chain restaurants where you go, sit down, they take your order,
right,
like i.e. Applebee's, Chili's,
Right, got it.
you know, those kind of restaurants. They're basically dying.
Really?
That's so
in
sad.
several locations, I think, I don't quote me on it, but I think I saw a number saying that Applebee's was closing like over 100 restaurants.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know. I am fully on board with this. I love how like the knee-jerk reaction is, millennials must just suck, rather than like, Applebee's actually is one of the worst restaurants ever.
Yeah. I'm feeding off this news right now.
Man, yeah, it's sustaining me too. I remember a really bad incident I had concerning some riblets at Applebee's, and that's all I'll say on that. I'll leave you both in mystery.
Is a riblet?
Exactly.
What?
Exactly my point. Never order a riblet. If you ever go sit down at a restaurant and you see riblet on the menu, steer clear.
Like, I thought McRibs were weird, but
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, a McRib is basically just a
Riblets.
bunch of like ground pork, right? Like shaped in the form of flesh and bone, right? And then slathered with barbecue, right? Like that's what a McRib is.
Right.
It's shaped to look like a rib, but it's all.
It's so true, but I eat it
No,
anyway.
I love it. Hey, I'm a proponent of the McRib. McRib is back.
Oh, dude, it's like processed American homogenized food at its finest.
There was a crime. There was a crime committed against me a couple months ago where I ordered a McRib on Uber Eats, and I was like, I gasped. I like audibly gasped when I saw it on the menu as like selectable. I was like, yes, I want a McRib delivered to me. And then they called me 5 minutes later and were like, we don't have McRibs. And I was like, yeah, it was. I know. It was just my
Kind of
dreams were dashed against the rocks.
Your night.
My question is, how can you knowingly order a McRib through like any delivery service without worrying that the delivery driver is going to see it and be like, "Oh, that's it's a McRib. I know I shouldn't eat it, but it smells so good. It's so American."
I'm sorry, but I ate it by the time I got.
Sorry, it's too
I have
delicious.
to go buy another
Yeah,
one.
are you
So-
Jack? I have an empty bag for you.
Yeah. So you were saying
Yes.
though, Colin, you're.
Yeah, so like not even just Applebee's, but like places like Buffalo Wild Wings too. TGI Fridays, Ruby Tuesdays, like all of those are going downhill because fast casual is basically taken over the past few years.
Right.
From, you know, I think it said in this article, 1999 to 2014, it's became a $69 billion industry.
Huh.
Yeah. Increasing its profits by 500%. Just places like Chipotle and your BB Bops and your Panda Expresses, like those type of places, man, they're killing it. And I mean, why do you guys think that is? I mean, I think the biggest one personally is probably money, because, you know, a lot of younger kids don't have as much money. You don't have money to sit down and do the full restaurant, you know, thing, pay a tip and all that stuff.
I don't know. I'd be
That
willing.
definitely plays into it.
I think part of it might just be psychology. You know, like it kind of feels a little bit more like you had a hand in making your Chipotle burrito than if you just ask McDonald's to give you a McRib. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I helped make this. I told them what to put in it. And it's like, I saw them do it. You know, like there's some kind of like psychological trick there.
I think a lot of it also, you know, comes with the thought or the common belief that most young people are kind of time poor and they don't have a lot of time to invest in dinner
That's
you
true.
know, when you go sit down at a TGI Friday or something like that, like, you know, it's going to be at least an hour on a typical night. And then you have to factor in the wait times and all this. You make a reservation. It's just inconvenient, you know, and it's all a matter of getting to the same end, which is just not being hungry anymore. So I think just people are much more, you know, it's quicker, it's more convenient, it's cheaper. Like, that's all you have to really say. And I just think it's kind of like a failure on those companies' parts to really want to evolve. You know, they think that, I mean, they've been around for decades, and they kind of, all those restaurants you kind of listed off there are kind of all legacy brands at this point. You know, we all grew up with them. We all know what they are. We all know what to expect. But I hate Applebee's with a passion. I haven't been in an Applebee's. I'm telling you, I don't think I've been inside one in like 10 years at least. It's been a long time. No, yeah, riblets, right? And
baby back ribs.
Right. And I think that there's, you know, too much choice. There's too many options. There's too much really good kind of local food, you know, or local restaurants, you know, that aren't huge corporate, you know.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Right. And that's true. It's like, I don't ever really have a night where I'm hankering like, hey, I really want some Chili's or some Applebee's right now.
Yeah.
It's more like if I do eat at those places, it's because of geographic convenience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's the thing too, is like, if I go to a place like Applebee's and order, say, or Chili's is a better example, like their bowl, whatever, it's like something similar to the burrito bowl at Chipotle. It's going to cost at least, you know, $3 or $4 extra.
And then you have to factor in the tip too, which is something.
Tip, and God forbid if you decide to get a beer on top of that. So you're like, after that, you're $15 deep, man. So at least, and half that at freaking Chipotle. So it sounds a lot better to me.
Yeah, and I've also noticed in myself, whenever I go out to a restaurant, like an actual sit down restaurant where I know I have to sit there and like wait for the food to be made, it's usually a restaurant where it's like Jack said, probably a local one where like I've heard like, oh, I hear great things about their burgers here, or like I hear their wings are really good or something like that, where it's like, you know, through word of mouth essentially that I want to go to like these places like Thurman's, for example, right? Whereas
exactly,
like it's hard to say like, yo, have you tried Applebee's burgers? Like they're the best. you know, you should go try out Applebee's. It's a small local place.
That's a fault of low quality food, first and foremost, but then also like poor marketing, right? Poor messaging. Like, it's just not a valuable brand anymore concerning maybe 18 to 35-year-old crowd. They're looking for something else, you know, so.
Right. And that's the thing too, is it's like we were talking in a show before, like a big reason why, you know, I like to travel so much is to eat, you know, different foods from different places, right? Yeah. And I mean, if you go to if I go to Texas, where Jack's at right now, and then like, hey, what'd you eat while you were in Texas? Oh, I ate Applebee's and Chili's. Like, you don't do that.
No, but guys, I know people that definitely do. Like, you know, when they're on vacation and stuff, we'll go to like the old staples. You know, those people exist. They know what they like. They don't want, you know, fuss around with anything like that. Like, go get a Big Mac, go get number 3 at Taco Bell with a Mountain Dew, like I always do, and that's the thing.
Well,
you know,
actually, that's funny that you mentioned Big Mac, because like I've been to like international, you know, I've been to Korea and I've been to like Japan and stuff, and the McDonald's there are like worth going to, honestly.
Right.
Like, because they have different menu items. I think McDonald's, surprisingly, I'm going to praise McDonald's for once. Like, they actually cater to, like, the local market, right? Like, you can't get a teriyaki chicken burger here in America at an American McDonald's.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's, you know, it's crazy how they do that. They vary it country to country. Like in Japan, they Burger King had that. You guys remember that Squid Ink burger?
I was just going to bring that up. Yeah, it was Burger King, wasn't it? Dude, the bun was all like jet black.
Oh yeah, dude, shit was wild.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, dude. I actually IGN was actually in Japan when the promotion was happening, and I remember Brian Altano like actually ordered one, and he sat down and he ate it, and he's like, "This isn't terrible, but it's so weird."
Yeah, I just assume that anything like that shiny black just tastes like black licorice, and I cannot.
Oh, please don't. Ooh.
Whoa. Yeah. So we've got a pretty heavy packed episode for you today. Lots of big news happened in the gaming industry in the past week. So sit tight for that. Just want to say right up here at the top that we're still going to do our Foreigner spoiler cast at the end. It's not going to be as long as the Blade Runner 2049 one, so it'll be quick, but it'll be fun. It'll be an interesting discussion, I think. But
spoiler alert, it's Jackie Chan and Taken.
Yeah, basically. I mean, there's a little bit kind of ish more to it, but we'll get into that later.
That sounds good to me. I'm sold on that. Those 4 words.
Jackie Chan in Taken.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sold.
But while we're talking about movies, the Black Panther trailer dropped earlier this week, I believe. Did you guys get a chance to see that? Peep it?
Of course, yes. It was pretty great. It was pretty great. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised with how good it looked.
Yeah, I was and of course I don't watch a whole lot of superhero movies, and even I was like somewhat impressed. It still feels like I don't know if it's gonna pull me into the theater day one or anything like that. Still, just because it still felt like a superhero movie to me, and that just I don't know, that doesn't really appeal to me as much as it used to. But it definitely, if I had to watch a superhero movie, I definitely think I would lean towards going to see that one if there was more than one in theaters or whatever. I like the concept a lot, and plus I like I always forget his name. Who were we talking about just before the show, Jack? The dude who was in Fruitvale Station.
Michael B. Jordan.
Him, yeah, I really like that actor a lot. So that was kind of selling me on it for sure. What'd you guys think?
Yeah, he plays.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan plays the villain, right?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah,
that's what I got from the trailer. Yeah.
Yeah, I think with the movie, it because I've made it clear that like Marvel movies have kind of fallen off them, right? Like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like Spider-Man was the first Marvel movie I'd seen in a long time, and I just found out today via Wikipedia that Black Panther actually showed up in, was it Civil War?
Yeah, he was in there.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I just thought Black Panther was just like they're just starting a movie with him out of nowhere.
Yeah, they usually roll them in now.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, from some other property, right? Like Spider-Man was in Civil War 2.
That's true, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I think the movie, it looks interesting. I don't know if I'd, like Colin, I don't know if I'd watch it day one. Like, I think I'm more excited about Thor Ragnarok, but that's just because it looks like they're having a lot of fun with Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah. Do you guys know when this movie's coming out?
Did it say in the trailer?
No.
Is there a date? Yeah, it just says 2018 actually. Oh wait, no, February 16th.
It's February.
Okay,
2018. Yeah, so
February. I remember
it'll be far away from when Thor comes out.
Yeah, it was actually. 'Cause I think a big reason why that is because it's Black History Month, which actually makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Really? Oh wow, weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Jack, what were your first impressions of the trailer?
Well, I mean, it looked like kind of standard issue, Marvel superhero movie, which is not a bad thing. I don't mean to make it sound like that. I definitely am gonna go. I think it just looks like good old fashioned fun. I like the setting. I like Chadwick Boseman. He's the person that plays Black Panther. I think he's a good fit for the role. Also, anywhere where Andy Serkis is, I will usually go. He plays Claw, and I'm really excited because friggin' Angela Bassett's in. I never thought I'd say that sentence out loud, but Angela Bassett in a Marvel superhero movie. She's just like this classically trained, like awesome actress that has been, she's kind of like the Meryl Streep, right? Of African American female actors.
What else has she been in? I couldn't think of it.
Oh my gosh, I can't even go. It's like
what's her bigger movies?
How
from the
many
past?
movies have Morgan Freeman been in? Like she's been in everything, man. She's a legend. So I don't know if she has an Oscar or anything like that, but just check out her IMDb. It's like a football field long. Again, you said Michael B. Jordan is in it, playing Eric Killmonger, and it's gonna be it's gonna be a good time. I have full faith in it, and I even
that name though, Killmonger.
Killmonger, yeah.
Killmonger.
Even more excited now, though, to learn that Ryan Coogler is directing and writing it. This is no less than his third straight movie with Michael B. Jordan in it. You might recognize Ryan Coogler's name in the directing role for 2013's Fruitvale Station, and then also following up with the 2015 film Creed, which I think is an excellent film. It's on Hulu, I want to say, or maybe Netflix. It's on one of those. But, man, check out Creed. It's a very, very good, somewhat underrated film.
That's a really interesting track record there. That's like those are big contrasting movies. Going from Creed to a superhero movie that's a big jump.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and again with Michael B. Jordan, it's gonna be cool to see how he reacts with his kind of favorite actor now in the villain role, right, instead of the protagonist role. So I'm ready for this movie. The trailer sold me. It got me hype. I like the music in it. I like the dialogue. It looks fun.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well, if it gets Spider-Man level reviews, I'll 100% see it. So
Right.
I think I'm not expecting that. I'm expecting more something of the caliber of maybe Ant-Man rather than Spider-Man Homecoming, which I'm completely fine with. I loved Ant-Man.
I still haven't seen Ant-Man, and I love Paul Rudd. I don't know what I'm waiting on.
It's a good movie. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was very funny. It's the most comedic, I think, of all the Marvel movies. And then they are coming out with Ant-Man and Wasp, right? That movie is coming out soon.
Yeah.
So hey.
Yeah. Paul Rudd is just a really likable actor. Come on, guys.
He's a very charming guy. He never ages.
Have you ever seen?
Doesn't.
He doesn't. I know. He looks exactly the same as when he was in Clueless, right, with Alicia Silverstone back in the 90s.
He did a Super Nintendo commercial back in the day.
Yes, he did.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Yeah, he did. Now you're playing
good.
with power.
It's really
it's
good.
So
Man. It's
great.
funny.
Google it if you get bored, but it's so awesome. But anyway,
I'm curious. Like, do either of you two know anything about Black Panther, like comic book origins or anything like that?
So I don't know. I don't think this is true for the comics, but from what I'm hearing, according to Marvel, he's like the smartest person in the Marvel the cinematic universe right now, or something like. He's like, smart boy. I don't know how true that is.
Smart boy.
Well, I mean, that might
Smarter
be
smarter than Tony Stark.
Yeah, allegedly. Yeah,
Whoa.
like his intelligence level is just through the roof. Apparently.
Like, I was going to bring up Dr. Reed Richards, but then I remembered Fox owns Fantastic Four, and they run it in the ground every 4 years.
Oh, yes. And Michael B. Jordan was in that one, too. Remember, he was the Human Torch.
Oh, the newer one?
Yeah, there are through lines here.
God, that movie was so garbage.
I didn't even see that second one.
I saw the last 20 minutes while I was in Pennsylvania last year, and it was like, why? This is so bad. Like,
really?
Dude, the CG is bad. Like, everything is like the tone. It's like playing a video game from 2007. There's nothing but like gray, like very dark grays and greens and browns on screen. Like,
yikes.
Yeah, it was just bad. Just 0 out of 10. Don't watch.
Right. I don't know. I find it really cool that like so I actually did a little research on the origins of Black Panther, because he's a hero. Like, he's not one of the bigger well-known heroes. Like, if you talk about Marvel in passing, he's probably not often going to come up, I don't think.
No.
Oh, no, I had no idea about him really before they announced his movie.
Right, but what I find really interesting is that he is actually the very first prominent black comic book superhero that was created. Like, he debuted in like 1966. Every other like black hero before then didn't really have like superpowers or anything like that. And it's just kind of cool that like, now here in 2017, like it's one of the first superhero movies that's like definitely focused on like that same culture, which, I think it's neat to see it come back like that.
Yeah. Who was the other big black superhero?
Surely you're not talking about Spawn.
No.
That movie's terrible.
No, it's Donald Glover jokes about it all the time.
Do you mean the Black Spider-Man?
Well, there's him too.
That's a good song.
Oh man, I can't think of his name. Shaft.
Shaft is not a superhero. He's a pimp.
Because listen,
he's not a superhero. Are you? I can't tell if you're joking or not.
I don't know if I'm joking either. But
he's a bad mother. Shut your mouth.
No, listen, because I don't really know anything about him. All I know is they were talking, because it was Donald Glover was talking about it and how people were wanting him to play Spider-Man, and then he brought up Shaft. And like, oh, we want Hugh to play Shaft too. So I guess I sort of assumed he was a superhero.
Black Dynamite. That's really
Black
fun.
Dynamite. Yes.
Black Dynamite is a superhero now. So you've seen that film, right? My favorite scene, my favorite quote, spoilers for Black Dynamite, is, "I threw that shit before I walked into the room."
Dude, I actually really liked the animated series they did on Adult Swim for a while. It was actually pretty great.
Oh, Black Dynamite is an absolute gem. It's hilarious.
Shout out to Afro Samurai though.
That's a classic.
Dude, Afro Samurai is so great.
Yeah, don't play the video game, though.
Is that a motherfucking RPG?
Well, while we're talking about video games, let's roll right into our video games section. You guys want to talk about games?
Yeah. Let's talk about games. Even though I don't have a game to talk about this week, but hey.
So I want to kick things off. I've been playing Etrian Odyssey V for the past 24 hours because it just dropped yesterday.
I'm very interested in this.
You played for the past 24 straight hours?
I did not. No.
I would totally believe if you did because you finished Persona 5.
Yeah,
So
that
it's
dungeon
in
crawling
you.
goodness.
I didn't finish that in one day.
Ooh. Okay, so I'm very excited for this game. What has it been? 3-4 years since Etrian Odyssey 4?
Well,
Been a
I
while.
think the most recent game was Etrian Odyssey 2 Untold, or Untold 2. Or, no, maybe that wasn't. I'm not sure.
But the mainline Etrian Odyssey game, though.
Yeah, but the Untold series is kind of I don't know, I consider it kind of part of the main line because they basically take 1 and 2 and redo it in the new graphics and give it a story.
Okay, so what I'm saying is this is 5 that came out. When did 4 come out?
4, I want to say 2012 or 14.
Okay, that was the last one I played, and it's a great game.
Oh, it's such a great game. And Etrian Odyssey 5 improves on Etrian Odyssey 4 so much. But for those of you who haven't played it, it's this Atlas JRPG for the 3DS that uses the 3DS in the best way I have ever seen any RPG use it. So it's a first-person dungeon crawling game, so you're going through tile by tile, you move forward, turn left and right, and move forward again, and you're just going through a gigantic labyrinth that on average is 30 floors.
Wow.
And yeah, trust me, it's not quick. You're gonna be spending a lot of time with this game. I've been playing for maybe 3 or 4 hours, and I maybe just got to the 3rd floor.
It really justifies the use of the touchscreen, like you said, because for people that never played an Etrian Odyssey game or a game of this type, Sharon the Wanderer is kind of like this too, right? You know how you play let's say a Zelda game or some Metal Gear or whatever, and the map is always in the top right corner, or Zelda something, some game like that. This is a game where you are in dungeons that the onus is on you to draw the map yourself. You're the cartographer, and you have to do it. You have to draw as you're exploring. So imagine going to this giant cave and then having to draw out in a grid form where all the enemies are, where all the items are, where the doors you can unlock are, where the doors you can't unlock are, where all the boundaries are. And it sounds maybe kind of tedious, but it does something to my brain, man. It really scratches this weird OCD itch that I have to fully explore maps and to just discover. So it really engenders that need to really go into every corner, every nook and cranny of every floor.
Right.
Yeah,
and
it's it's like an old school throwback to the Phantasy Star games.
Yeah, and if you find that daunting, Etrian Odyssey 5 kind of makes it easier in that in the settings you can turn on auto mapping, so that way when you're walking around it just fills in the walls and the floor for you.
I hate that.
I hate that too, but it's a good way of if that turns you off from the game, then you can just turn that on. But
if you're the person in Final Fantasy that runs from every fight rather than fighting it, this is for you then.
Yeah, to me, Etrian Odyssey, more than half the fun is the mapping, I think, just because of all the things you can do with it. For example, I usually mark wherever I find a chest, and I usually write down what item I got out of that chest, even though that's not going to help me 20 hours from now, but it's still the fact that I can do it, I do it,
Right. I mean, I think though, if you're the type of person that's going out of your way to play a series like Etrian Odyssey anyway, you're probably the same type of person that's going to sit there and draw out the maps.
Yeah. And then the combat is basic turn-based, you have 5 people in your party, you give them orders, and then the turn order happens, and then the next round starts. The combat is kind of unforgiving too. It's a little difficult. You can easily get one-shotted in the beginning if you don't prepare your party well enough, or if you don't think about what armor to put on who. And there are some hidden stats in the way of it's all intuitive, but for example, heavy armor, you will go later in the turn order than people wearing light armor. That just makes sense, but they don't explicitly tell you that kind of stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah. And the 5th game here, they were boasting all of these customization options like for your characters, because you create all your characters from scratch. None of them are like canned, like with backstories and like with goals or whatever. It's like characters you create. So any story that happens with them, it's like that's what you create in your mind. And usually you could choose like 4 portraits and just like that's your character. Like choose from 4 portraits per class. In this game, not only can you choose from those 4 different like presets, but then you can like change their hair color, their eye color, and then like choose from 40 different voices, like 20 for guys, 20 for women.
Wow, that's different.
Yeah, the voices, I'm surprised how much of an addition that is, because in Untold 2, like since that was like a story-based game with created characters, like they obviously had voices for them to give them more life. But the normal Etrian Odyssey games, characters don't have voices, so it just kind of feels harder to connect with them. Like you think of them more as like, that's my tanky DPS instead of like, that's Gerald of Rivia.
Right. If they don't have voices, it sort of depersonifies them, kind of thing.
Right. So now that they have voices, whenever I like heal someone, my healer is like, take this, and then they're like, oh, thanks, or like, I didn't need that or anything. Like they have personality, so it's really cool to see.
Nice.
Yeah, and other than that, it's still like your typical Etrian Odyssey game in terms of, there's a big labyrinth and the town wants you to explore that labyrinth, and you end up being the one guild that gets all the way to the end because you're the main character.
It's the dungeon crawler, kind of template, which is good.
Right.
Yeah,
would you say it's like a good jumping in point for someone who's new to the series?
I would say so, yeah. It's probably the most friendly of the Etrian Odyssey games. Like, it's still going to be hard. It's not easy, but like I mentioned, that auto mapping thing is like a good way to kind of get into it. All the customization options kind of makes you feel more connected to your character, so you care a little more.
See, Robert, for me, so much of the reason I don't like that mode is because so much of the fun of that game is filling out the map yourself. For me.
Same, but I can imagine someone new like feeling daunted by it. It's like, man, what if I mess up the map or something? You know what I mean? Or like,
right?
It's a pretty surmounting task. Like, not many games out there are like, but you draw your own map. Like, could you imagine Skyrim? But it's like you have to draw the map. Yeah, it's not a common practice.
Yeah, so you would say the game is a good starting point, and it's somewhat punishing, but not too off-putting to people new to the genre.
Yeah, so they have like basically, because there are 2 difficulty levels. There's basic and advanced, and I tried advanced because I was like, I've beaten an Etrian Odyssey game before. This is fine. I got one-shotted by like the first mobs you run into.
Oh, what?
Yeah, so I turned it down. I still would occasionally get one-shotted, and then I was like, all right, let's throw some armor on them. I wanted to like save my money and buy the next tier of armor, but I broke down and ended up buying the beginning armor.
Can you toggle the difficulty on the fly, or do you have to restart a whole new save?
You can toggle the difficulty on the fly. So
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's definitely like if you feel like you bit off more than you can chew, you can just turn it down a little bit.
Awesome, man. No, yeah. I couldn't find the funds this week to get that game, but I didn't even know it was coming out until you mentioned it earlier this week, and I am hype on that series, so it's going to be on my list for sure. I'm glad to see that 3DS games still are coming out. Some some rather kind of tentpole releases anyways with Metroid, and then with this, and
like,
so
honestly,
3DS is not dead.
Like, here's the thing though, honestly, this might be the last game I buy for my 3DS, because I haven't touched my 3DS since Pokemon Sun and Moon, honestly.
And now the mainline Pokemon games are moving over to Switch, so that's going to be even less reason to play 3DS. Yeah, it's definitely in its sunset period, right?
Yeah,
it's gonna happen sooner rather than later. And they've just increased capacity to produce Switches. Did you see that? Nintendo updated to produce up to 2 million units a month now, so they're going all in on Switch and 3DS and 2DS, whatever that new one that came out. Like, they're only gonna get cheaper and cheaper, I think.
Yeah, I can see them being phased out. Like, I know there's like Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon coming out, but like that's not gonna save the 3DS's lifespan, I don't think.
Oh no, but there's still gonna be tons of people that buy it.
Probably not as much though, because it's the same thing as like Black 2 and White 2. Like that didn't see as much widespread success as like the original like Black and White.
Real quick, just while we're talking about Switch a little bit, did you guys also see that Popular Science, that famous kind of engineering and scientific magazine, right? They announced that the Switch is like the best piece of like entertainment tech of the year for everything that came out, the Nintendo Switch.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That
not
is
the
cool.
iPhone X or not the Xbox One X or any graphics card or anything like that. It was the Switch. So, I mean, there's a lot of tech going on in those Joy-Cons.
Yeah.
You know, they're packed with tech.
Like, I have to say, like, I was, like, kind of on the fence about buying it day one, but I'm so happy I did. Like, it's such a cool console. It's such a cool idea.
I
Yeah,
haven't
it
had
is.
very many issues with the Joy-Cons losing any their syncing with the unit. I had those early on for whatever reason, but it seems to have remedied itself somehow. So
That's good to hear.
I'm good. Yeah.
Man, Mario comes out in less than 10 days, 9 days.
It's next
man.
Friday. It is upon us.
I don't know if I'll,
Yes.
dude. I might just say screw the motherboard and buy this instead. I don't know. No, I'm torn. I don't know what to do.
I'm getting 2 games that day because Wolfenstein 2 New Colossus coming out.
I'm so torn because I want to get that, and I'm also considering the Assassin's Creed game. I'm not sure.
Don't consider this Assassin's Creed game.
It's
Nah,
looking
I
pretty
would-
solid.
I would wait and see on Assassin's Creed.
No,
Yeah.
on those 3, no. New Colossus was the one.
That's fair.
Yeah, of those 3.
Man, I'm already prepping for Mario, though. I'm already throwing my hat at everything.
When did Friday become the day that games get released now? It used to be Tuesday. I guess it's more
It shifts. I mean, there was a few games that were released on Sunday before.
Nintendo especially would release games on Sunday. It was kind of decreed in Japan because if they released it on weekdays, too many people skip school. I don't know if you guys know that or not. So that's why Nintendo, that's why Sundays became popular. Yeah, especially with Dragon Quest. I think they actually passed like some kind of law or some kind of like prefecture edict in Japan where like, you know, that's a good name for this episode, by the way.
Prefecture edict.
Yes, but yeah, they were having too many kids skip school, right, for Dragon Quest. So
That's
they said
hilarious, dude.
they're not allowed to come out on weekdays anymore. I'm pretty sure.
That's pretty insane.
Yeah.
Jack, have you been playing anything this week that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I am still into some of that Cuphead and Mugman madness. I'm playing it on the PC. I kind of messed up because I guess I got the wrong version. I bought the Steam version, and had I known that if I got the Microsoft Windows version, whatever the fuck you call that store, that terrible store, I would have been able to play it on an Xbox One and cross-play, right? And like pick up and play anywhere, etc. So I messed up and got the Steam version, so I won't be able to do that, sadly.
Oh, no. I am so
who
sorry
cares?
for your
Yeah.
loss.
I don't even
Oh.
own an Xbox console, so
I was gonna
just
say, I was
thinking
like,
about
wait, do you
the
even
future.
own an Xbox?
No, but I mean, the Xbox One eventually, maybe one day when I actually get a proper like OLED TV or something like that will actually harness the energy. You know, I'll look into it in the future, but no time soon am I going to do anything like that until I move. Anyways, playing Cuphead, and I'm like, I don't know, probably 80% through the second world. Last time I left off, I was all the way through the first world. There's only like 3 worlds. Or in like maybe like a finale. It's not, I mean, but it's still a long game because I spent like 45 minutes, man, on one boss. And let me tell you, like, few games are able to just draw the white hot rage out of me like Cuphead. Like, I was so angry. I was saying things that I'm glad I was by myself because
Did you almost pull a PewDiePie?
No. But I was just saying really terrible things at the screen, and I was like about to like throw my controller. Like, very few games get me this triggered, but the bosses are tough. They're fair, I'd say, but they are very difficult. So I'm still having fun with that. I have a little bit of criticisms. I wish that you could kind of like in Splatoon 2. I wish you could try out weapons before you buy them, because when you're in the store, the stakes are so high. It only autosaves, and every time you do something, it autosaves. You can't go in there and decide when it saves or what to load or what state. So the second you spend, at least from my perspective, the second you spend coins, which are very few and far between, you're kind of tied into the purchase, and there's no way to try out what you're buying before.
Yikes.
So yeah, so it's very nerve-wracking because you only read a very short description of what the weapon does and how it behaves, and then you're stuck with it. Kind of, there's no way to go back that I can tell. And the way you get the coins is there's like 2 platforming stages per world, and the rest are just straight up boss rush kind of things, right? And so in each platforming stage, there's 5 coins. So there's a total of 10 coins, and some weapons cost 5 coins on their own, or some power-ups cost 4 coins. Like it's very risky to spend coins. So that's one criticism I have. And and of course the difficulty is really ridiculous. It definitely is harkening back to 8-bit games, 16-bit games, etc. Bullet hell style shooters. I'm having fun, but I know I want to go back there. I know I am committing myself. I want to beat this game. Like, the drive is in me, the motivation is in me, but I just know how hard it's going to be, and I'm like sort of looking forward to it, but also like I need to like meditate or something before I go back into the game because it makes me so angry.
Man, just use your game genie. Just use your game genie. There you go.
Pull up that Game Shark.
Yeah. Yeah, cheat engine. You know what I did do, though? This is how you know you're a PC gamer. If you ever have to go and edit INI files for your game to get it to do something, you're a PC gamer. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you will one day when you get into PC gaming. But I had to go in and make and edit a file script line to make the game fit in 21:9 because it doesn't natively, and it looks awesome like that. It looks so good. It doesn't give you more gameplay. It shows you the size of the screen, but you can't like make your character walk there or anything like that. But you can still see like part of the area, if that makes sense.
Yo, that's awesome.
Cool. Yeah, it's better than nothing. Better than black bars or gray bars. Like the new South Park game that just came out this week. That doesn't support 21:9. Just puts like gray bars there, so it's like bleh.
Lame.
Yeah, not pref.
I don't know. The only thing I've been hearing about Cuphead recently, aside from like the whole difficulty debacle, is that the second to last boss of the game is like the worst, like the absolute worst. So,
second to last.
I guess pepper your Angus.
I know it's gonna. I know what I'm getting into. Because this game is, like I said, it's not that long, but you spend like half an hour, 45 minutes at each time with each boss. So that's kind of what takes forever. And it's so nerve wracking because it shows you your progress as well. Like when you die, it shows you how close to death the boss was. And nothing is worse than seeing that you're like 1 hair of a % away from killing them. And that's when you die.
Hey, man.
Those are the nerve wracking parts where you're just like, oh, you just want to punch a hole through the wall.
No, I feel that, like, especially, I know a lot of people like to compare this game to like Dark Souls or whatever, which doesn't really make too much sense to me. Just because a game's fucking hard doesn't mean it's Dark Souls.
I agree with that.
Anyway, and Dark Souls, I that happened to me so many times because I call it getting greedy, but because you get to that part in the boss fight where you have you just drink your last health potion, Estus flask, and you got like maybe a less than a quarter of that boss's health bar left. So you're like hitting him down. You got like one hit left on him, and he's hitting you. He's doing damage to you. But you're like, okay, I can get this one last hit in, and then he gets a hit in before you die, literally before you can get that last hit in.
Yeah.
Well, I think the difference though is that with Dark Souls, you see their health bar live as you fight them. But from my understanding, Jack, you don't see how close you are until you're dead.
You don't see it, but what happens is there's like different stages, right? There's like different phases, different transformations of the battle. It's a big, long battle, and it oftentimes is random as to what's going to happen next, even though it goes in phases. I don't know if that makes sense or not. But so you can tell how far along in the battle you are depending on what their form takes or how they're attacking you. So you know kind of how far along you are, but you don't know exactly when it's going to switch to the next form, how much damage you have to do, etc. Things like that. Gotcha. And I would say Cuphead would be more like Dark Souls if like, okay, you die and then you have to now fight the same boss you fought with no weapons or just very tiny pea shooter, and you have to do the same amount of damage that you did last time with all the weapons, and if you don't, then it just deletes your save and you have to start all the way from the beginning. Then it would be like Dark Souls.
But Dark Souls, no, that's not how Dark Souls works, but okay.
No.
Okay, hold on a second. So I'm not going to argue with you guys about Dark Souls anymore, but when you go to Dark Souls and you're playing Dark Souls and you get a bunch of souls and then you die, right? Don't you have to like go back and like pick up your souls? And if you don't, then you like basically lose all your progress.
Right, but you
Isn't
don't
lose all your you lose all your souls. You don't necessarily lose your
sword
progress. Like it doesn't take away your weapons.
Okay, you guys are taking this too literally, but it sucks. Dark Souls sucks. The end.
Well, that's why you just run in to the boss arena and you're like, "Hello, I'm here to pick up my souls first." You just go for it.
If only it were that easy. And can't people like also like from the internet like come in and like totally sabotage you too, like whenever they want to?
Not during a boss fight,
just because that's fun, right?
Otherwise, yeah.
I usually turn off the online for Dark Souls. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a fan of it.
And Dark Souls 1, I did. Dark Souls 2, 3, and Bloodborne, I was online all the time.
Yeah, I know there are people who are like big fans of that PvP,
PvP is fun.
Couldn't tell you. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's all. That's Cuphead. Hey, it's still good. It's one of the best looking games of the entire year. One of the best original soundtracks. This is going to be like, if there were an Oscar for video games, this would be like a one to watch out for during Oscar season.
Oh, you should talk to Jeff Keighley about that.
Yeah,
the Keighley's, yeah.
The Keighley's.
Yeah, and guys, it is we're in the second half now of October. Like, it seems like it's far away, but like, it's gonna be coming up a game of the year season before you know it. We only got about 5-6 weeks. So
yeah,
I
the
hope
Keighley's
you guys,
and PSX too, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
it's gonna be
fun.
this year especially. We always talk about how freaking great this year is for video games.
Yeah, and one more thing on Cuphead real quick. Everyone complains about how hard it is, but I'm sure there's already speedrunners for this game.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. There's people. There's achievements to beat the game without even getting hit. So there's crazy
that's
speedruns.
Ridiculous. I mean, there's already like a huge circle jerk of like, oh, Cuphead isn't that hard. It's just like,
oh, of course.
Like,
I'm sure it's on V on 4chan and shit like that. Like Cuphead, it's not even good. It's just like whatever.
I think it's a great game, and I can't think of anything that looks like it. Or it definitely has a familiar gameplay feel. But again, I would encourage people to check it out.
Sounds good. Let's move on now to the news section. This week has been insane for news. Like, so many big things happened.
It's like Monday, there was like almost nothing really to talk about, and then so much can change in 48 hours.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's like someone just opened a closet, a bunch of skeletons fell out, and I don't know.
Whoops, what are these doing here?
Yeah.
All right, so let's kick things off. So this happened a little earlier in the week. I want to say this was around like the weekend or Monday, perhaps. Or no, it was last Friday. Humble Bundle, the store that for PC games where like you can pay what you want, usually like $1, or like, if you meet certain like averages and stuff, you get more games out of it. But it's always like a good sale. They also donate their money to charity, which is, it's nice. They've just been acquired by IGN. 10 out of 10 IGN. Those guys. So now a game reviews website owns a game publisher who is also a game seller.
Right. There's a marketplace in the Humble Bundle. It's not just about the charity, and the bundle drops or whatever like that. There's like an open commerce site, right, where you can go to humblebundle.com and purchase games whenever you want to. So now, like you said, IGN and more at large Ziff Davis are in the business of rating games, telling you which ones are worth buying, and then also selling you said game. So it's a slippery slope. At least it used to be. It seems to be more accepted now. I don't know if everyone's truly aware of like the situation now.
Yeah. And I mean, it's also just interesting because it's again, like Humble Bundle isn't just a seller. They also publish games. Like they recently published Hat in Time. So It's also the market of like, we're going to tell you this game is 9 out of 10. But also we published it, but you don't need to know that. That's
click the button here for the digital download.
Right.
9 out of 10.
Man, it like ever since this whole deal went down, it's just been nothing but negative comments, and I completely understand. Like, what are we supposed to think about? You know what I mean? It basically just throws their credibility out the window. You know what I mean? Like, any given game, they could be like, okay, we need to push sales on this one, so we just give it a good rating. It's sleazy. It's the general concept just sounds sleazy.
It's a slippery slope. There's a precedent set already for this, right? So GameStop and Game Informer, right? They will push you. I'm sure everyone that's been to a GameStop before has been asked if they want a subscription to Game Informer, if you want to join the Power Up Rewards Club, and et cetera. You want to pre-order XYZ, right? So this has happened already, and IGN's just trying to get in on that sweet video game money,
right? It's almost like another Gamergate, like on a different on a smaller scale, or like in a different way. And
I would not throw that word around lightly.
I know, I was just about to say, like, did he just say a cuss word right now?
Well,
did you just cuss?
Well, I'm just saying, like, in that, like, think about it. GameStop published that game. What was it? The submarine game, the side-scrolling submarine game. What's it called?
No clue.
Under the
Way
sea,
to bring up things you don't know anything
Yeah.
about.
under the sea or something like that. It's gonna come to me.
Are you thinking Sunless Sea?
No,
It's not
it's like you're like
side-scrolling,
looking
but-
for your dad, and you play like a little girl in a submarine. It was published by GameStop. Anyways, the point being, I would Song of the Deep. That's what it was called. Song of the Deep.
Yes.
Yeah. So, what's to say that it wasn't positively reviewed in Game Informer just because it was made by GameStop or published by GameStop? You know what I mean? It's that kind of idea that it's making.
Or on the other side of the coin too, what if the editors or reviewers are so concerned with that subject that they rate it harsher than they would have if it wasn't a GameStop kind of game?
Right, but like how do we know?
It just introduces a lot of fog, a lot of noise, a lot of distraction. But it's all in service of the almighty dollar. That's why IGN's doing this, because they see it as profitable.
Right.
Yeah,
They see
and-
they can make money
and
from this. That's why they're doing it.
Here's the thing: is that IGN, they released a statement saying that like integrity is something that they hold in high regard, of course, and that they would never let this sully any reviews moving forward. And
We're
it's like,
talking about the website that had that one chick lick a PSP, by the way. What was her name?
I don't know.
Gosh.
But here's the thing. It's like it's fine and all to like say that, but Bill Clinton did also say, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. You know what I
Whoa.
mean? Like words are words, you know, like and it's
Right.
it's hard to prove this, right? Like there's no easy way to prove like, you know, the fact that we own a market that's selling this game is not affecting our 8 out of 10 score on this game. You know, it's
Right.
like
Yeah.
that's impossible to prove or deny.
Is this not? I mean, you went to school for journalism. Is this not like the textbook like conflict of interest?
Absolutely.
You know,
Right.
Absolutely.
And that's why I brought up
paradox here?
Gamergate. That's why I brought up Gamergate, because it kind of reflects the Zoe Quinn situation a little bit about how it was-
another word I don't
Right.
ever want to hear on this podcast again.
well, just how like, you know, she made that game and supposedly it got good reviews because she was basically sleeping with the dude that gave it a good review. So
Yeah, but I think that's a lot more personal than this is like.
Well,
we're
it
talking
is,
about
it is, but
companies.
This is merger and acquisition.
right.
It's like IGN sleeping with Humble Bundle.
Basically.
Yeah, it's more
Yeah,
like
right,
that.
exactly.
Where is this conversation going?
I don't know anymore. Yeah, I don't know. I just like I want to believe, you know, reasonable doubt that IGN's not gonna, you know, fuck this up. Just like I want to believe we live in a world like that.
Just
but I think it
trust 'em.
says
Just trust 'em.
Yeah, it says something when like the gaming industry is generally very cynical about this kind of stuff.
Right.
You know,
Right. I mean,
it's
I don't
slippery
even
slope.
really review or rely on IGN for reviews anymore anyway. So, I mean, they're not my sole go-to place for reviews anymore. They're really not.
right?
No,
I think
same for me. Yeah.
like what'll be interesting is seeing like the next time Humble Bundle publishes a game, right? Like if they publish Hat in Time 2 or something like that, it'd be really interesting to see like across the gamut, you know, like GameSpot and like independent reviewers, Game Informer, Giant Bomb, Rock Paper Shotgun, they all give kind of like middle of the road reviews, but then IGN's standing up there like a sore thumb. 9 out of 10, it's pretty good.
Right.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see definitely how it unfolds.
Yeah,
but
I don't think
we
I
are.
think Jason Schreier or any of them will be having any of that though. Knowing those guys.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is one of those we'll wait and see what happens, but also how
Right.
will we know if we're seeing
Yeah, exactly. How do we know?
whatever is happening.
They're just
Yeah.
asking you again to just, you know, turn your head and trust the goodness of man.
Right, like we're gonna have like that person that comes to us in like a black hood. So it's like, hey, so you want some information? You want an in on the games industry? You want to see what's going on between Humble Bundle and IGN?
Yeah,
What are
and,
you buying?
like,
What are you selling?
I'm a little surprised too that like Humble Bundle accepted this deal. Makes me wonder if maybe there were like some financial issues toward, you know, recently.
I mean, it's
I mean,
a
if you
whole service. It's a charity service based on people giving as little as possible to take as much as possible, right? So,
right, and then they started like publishing games too, and started doing like monthly subscriptions. So I feel like maybe they were just like taking on a lot for being something that happened that was like a small company building up into what it became.
Could be.
This isn't even the biggest news story this week.
No, it's not, but
Nope.
it's some shit, isn't it? All right, let's talk about then probably what I think is the biggest news story this week, because this is
Hope you guys don't want a new Dead
insane.
Space anytime soon.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Colin, remember when you were like, hey, I hope at E3 2017 they announced Dead Space 4. Rip, that's not happening.
Man, I was looking forward to like an actual proper Dead Space, because Dead Space 3 definitely left me alienated.
It left me empty,
pun
just like
intended,
that game. So if you haven't heard, EA, Electronic Arts, 2 years in a row, the worst company on the planet, just closed Visceral Games, well known for their, obviously the Dead Space games, mostly 1 and 2, when Dead Space 3 was kind of like a thing. Yeah, it was EA meddling with what Dead Space was. Visceral also made Battlefield Hardline, which... that's a thing. Again, after they were acquired by EA, so there is that.
Yes.
Yeah, they're being shut down by EA. This is in the midst of them making that single-player Star Wars game that had Amy Hennig attached to it.
She's directing it.
Yeah, she was directing it. She was writing the story for it. And if you're not familiar with Amy Hennig, she wrote the stories for Uncharted 1, 2, and 3. And
Legacy of Kain back in the day.
Yeah, and like, hey, Uncharted 2 is a good story, I guess.
Yeah, it's been, man, how long has it been? It's been 6 years since we've had an Amy Hennig game come out.
I am so excited, guys, for this Uncharted style Star Wars single player focused narrative game. I can't wait. This is going to be exciting. When's it coming out, Robert?
It's coming out never.
Wait, why? What?
Well, okay, here, I highlighted this quote specifically because I find it to be like the biggest load of bullshit that I've ever read come out of a human being's mouth.
This is a bad example of PR here.
Yo, God, you're quoting the dude from EA. Yeah, this is bad.
Yeah, okay, so Patrick Sutherland, right? Executive Vice President of EA Worldwide Studios. God, in a post on their website, he said, and I fucking quote, in its current form, the game was shaping up to be a story-based linear adventure game. Throughout the development process, we've been testing the game concept with players, listening to feedback about what and how they want to play, and closely tracking fundamental shifts in the marketplace. It's become clear that to deliver an experience that players will want to come back to and enjoy for a long time to come, we need to pivot the design.
We need to make it a service game and add more microtransactions.
Fuck that. I hate that. God. Gamers don't want to play single player story games.
They want to buy loot boxes.
What kind of feedback did he get? Like, oh, I wish there was a way for me to give you guys more money.
Right? Like look at Bethesda. They're bankrupt because they've been releasing Skyrim 6 times and it's never selling. Right? Like my gosh. I hate that. The way that the like language makes it sound like in its current form, it was shaping up to be a story-based linear adventure game. Who wants that? It's become
clear that we have to change. Wow, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, Neil Druckmann is just sitting in his chair reading that and fucking laughing and just like throwing his money up in the air.
Yeah, right? I mean, all these games that Sony has coming out are exactly that, and I am excited for them. Last of Us 2, even the new God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, Uncharted 4, Bloodborne. Like, the list goes on and on and on.
Third-person action story-driven games.
The Witcher 3.
Yeah, I mean, that's not Sony, but yeah.
No, Zelda. Zelda had that pass for extra stuff, but, I could listen in a much eviler world. I could imagine microtransactions in a Zelda game the way they have it now, but Nintendo will not do that.
They kind of have it with the amiibos. Like if you scan an amiibo, you get basically a loot crate every day.
So you buy an amiibo. That's what you're saying. That would be like the microtransaction.
That's the closest thing I can think of. It's not. It's not direct. Like it's a direct comparison. But
I hear you. But again, those amiibos, one single one could add value to every single Switch game you have, and 3DS.
Right.
So yeah, I hear what you're saying there, Robert.
Yeah.
They're trying to find ways to milk every last drop of money from people. Look no further than Shadow of War, the single player loot boxes, all that bullshit in there. Destiny, I mean, games as a service now, right? Is the term that's going around. We need games as a service. We need to kind of do what Overwatch is doing. Do these loot drops. Who knows what this means for Borderlands 3 now? Just the implications of this statement of these latest events are fucking chilling to the bone, man. And I, as someone who is a huge fan of single player games, I am really, really concerned with this. And And after we saw what EA is doing in Battlefront 2,
That was some shit.
this latest statement now means it's only going to get worse.
Well, and to be fair, with Battlefront 2, EA released a fucking cookie cutter press statement that basically said, regarding Battlefront 2, like, that's not the final form, that's not the final version of how loot boxes will be implemented. We'll still be working on it. The game is a month away. Like, what the fuck else are you going to be adding to that?
Yeah,
like,
they're going to need to make some big changes. Yeah, but they did get feedback. And I don't want to speak too much about Battlefront 2, but where are the droidicas? I need the droidicas. They're not in the game. The little roly-poly guys.
yeah.
Put those back in Battlefront 2. Anyways.
Yeah, so let's like bring this back to the other EA thing.
No.
Right.
Like, I feel like EA right now is Napoleon Bonaparte, because they have to have seen Monolith with Shadow of War, with what Warner Brothers did to it, and we're like, we're gonna throw hella loot boxes in the single player experience. And now all these news stories are coming out where, like, of course people aren't liking it. People are literally playing the game offline just so they don't have to deal with loot boxes. People are finding workarounds, people are finding exploits to just get around the whole, like, not having to buy and deal with the loot box bullshit.
Or people are just straight up torrenting the game.
Right. And then Napoleon, like, is seeing this and is like, that it seems like they're not doing so well, but I can do better, right? And he's about to march into Russia, and it's winter time. Like, do not do this. Do not give me, like, fucking a non-good single-player story about Star Wars and then throw in loot crates to see if I can get the right Wookiee to be on my side. Like,
And Amy Hennig isn't even attached to whatever this game is going to be. So she's been directing this game for 2-3 years now in development, and she's not even going to be on it anymore. Like,
Sony,
I'm concerned.
Sony, just pick this up. Sony, just come in and just be like, I got you, baby, Amy Hennig. Just gonna scoop you up in my arm, just like Sony did with Hideo Kojima.
I love how you call her Baby Hennig, like she's not retirement age right now.
Well, here's the thing too. It's like Sony can't even pick up the Star Wars game because EA's got a goddamn stranglehold on.
They're taking all the assets from the game and they're gonna make it into whatever else it is. They also, I think it was reported to be expected to release fiscal year 2018, and now they're not even making announcements on whenever this game is going to come out. It's going to be years down the road, though.
And
it's such a fucking shit show.
And there's like an update on some news sites where it's like they're like thinking about refocusing Amy and like, where are you going to put her? Because apparently you don't want to make a single player game about anything anymore. Like, where are you going to throw her on? Anthem, your Destiny clone?
Does this mean, and Destiny's that type of game, right? It's loot based. Like, there's going to be microtransactions in that game. Like, does this mean EA is giving up on single player games? That kind of sounds like what this means.
Like, I can't think of a single player game that they have in the works.
What was that Yarny game? What was that called? Unravel?
Yeah, but that was like an indie game that they picked up and like shoved a lot of money at.
I know, but what I'm saying is they're probably never going to release things like that anymore.
Maybe.
In the future. This is just a very scary precedent they're setting, and thank God for publishers like Sony and other developers out there that don't pay attention to any of this crap.
Yeah,
right?
we still
need single player games, man.
Man, we still don't even know what Battlefront 2's single player looks like.
I mean, I imagine that's probably under wraps with, like, especially like Lucasfilm might have an investment in, like, don't let any of that leak. At least not before December 15.
It's a wholly original story, and I can't remember the guy's name. I apologize, but they have a pretty seasoned writer in charge of that story. He's done video games before. He's done
it's Mitch Dyer and forget the other dude's name. And he was on one of Kind of Funny shows one day, but I digress.
Cool.
Right. I don't know. I mean, and to kind of speak to EA's like single player games, like there's that one indie game Faye that was like at E3 2015 or 16. If you guys remember that, it was like another indie game that they picked up.
No.
Okay. Well, there's that, I guess. So maybe they're gonna pick up a like once every 3 years. We're gonna pick up an indie game and publish that.
Yeah, and just like here's our single player game, just to satisfy that, just check that box off our list. It's fine,
dude. EA is taking L's this year, man. I mean, with the whole Mass Effect thing, just things are not going well for that company. It is. I don't know what direction. I don't think they know what direction they're trying to go in. But it just seems like all the leadership is running for the hills.
Yeah, like I mean, even last Thursday, right? Mike Laidlaw, who you may know from that guy that made basically Dragon Age what it was. Like, he was a creative director on all the Dragon Age games. He left. Yeah, he didn't explain why. He's just like, I'm out.
Oh yeah,
deuces. Wow. Yeah, that happened last week, and that's like what, 6 months or not 6 months, but like a year, a little more than a year after a lead writer of Dragon Age also left. So there's another fucking franchise under EA that seems like it's in dire straits. If there is a Dragon Age 4 coming out, like, if you lost your creative director and one of the lead writers, what's it going to be? Another romp through Dragon Age, but also loot crates?
Somehow this is very ironic that they're terminating Visceral Studios, terminating the Amy Hennig directed single-player narrative game the same year they come out with a single-player narrative linear mode in fucking Madden. Like, who is at the helm at this company? What are you doing? This just shows that no one actually knows what the hell they're doing there. No one knows.
You know, question for you, Jack. Since you played Madden 2017, were there loot boxes in that game?
There's absolutely. It's called the Ultimate. Oh, I can't remember. It's like Ultimate Team or something like that. Something like that. Madden Ultimate Team. That's what it is. Okay. And you buy card packs. So to forge your Ultimate Team. So people spend, like, the whales in Madden spend thousands of dollars on packs a month.
Yeesh.
You know, you only need a fraction of a percent of people to do that to justify the development and implementation of a system like that, right? You only need a few people to spend $1,000 and, you know, across the country, and boom, there it is.
You know what scares me is when I was home this past weekend, right? My brother somehow I can't remember the exact conversation, but he brought up 2K18, the NBA 2K18, and I was like, oh, so you're gonna get the freaking microtransaction laden, NBA game. He's like, oh yeah, I already got it. And I'm like, well, yeah, you have to like actually spend real money basically if you want to properly level up your character, if you want to get anywhere anytime soon. And he's like, yeah, I know, I already dropped $20 on the in-game currency. I'm like, you are part of the fucking problem. No, but
he didn't even bat an eye.
No, and that's the thing though. I think, and I mean, we're pretty, knee deep, but we're pretty knee deep into the industry. We know the goings ons. We're pretty hardcore gamers, and so like talking from the outside looking in, you know what I mean. You got the people on the periphery of gaming that are like, they don't see this sort of thing as a big deal. The casual gamer doesn't see these in-game currency purchases or any of that like a big deal. They're like, oh, I want this thing. It's no big deal. I'm just going to toss money at this thing. But what they don't know is they're contributing to an ongoing problem that's only going to get worse. And I feel like companies are preying on those people.
Yeah, I mean, while we're talking about evil microtransactions.
Oh, God. Man, I'm going to have an aneurysm by the end of this fucking episode.
I know. There's so much, like, guys, we hate the gaming industry. It's the worst.
It literally is the worst industry.
Yeah.
Ever. Okay. But some games, more than a handful of games every year are fucking phenomenal. So that's why we do it.
So yeah, let's talk about this other thing, the other evil fucking thing in the news this week. Activision has patented a system that basically is like another marketing tool for like selling microtransactions. So here's how it works. Step 1, you take someone who's new to the game and they probably don't have that many like cool gear or whatever. And then step 2, you take someone who does have all the cool gear and they've been playing the game for a while.
Oh, man.
So then step 3 in the matchmaking, for like whatever game this is going to be, you take that new kid and you pair him up or put him in the same game as the seasoned veteran.
So he sees the cool stuff.
Yeah, and he'll see the guy use all those cool guns or like have that cool hat or whatever. Gosh. And then after that, it's kind of like they'll basically ask the new player, hey, like, you want to buy this?
That was cool, right? Yeah, like, hit this button here to buy all that stuff.
Yeah, throw some shekels our way, and then you can get that cool weapon too.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, and
and I can totally see like my little brother or whatever playing Call of Duty just taking a huge bite out of that apple, like for sure. Just
really, I mean, yeah,
it's crazy. Like, here's the thing. So it's just a patent. They haven't, as far as we know, attached it to any game. Like, this isn't guaranteed to be in like Call of Duty World War II. This isn't going to be implemented in Blizzard's Overwatch, as far as we know.
Yeah, didn't some dude put out a tweet saying like, oh no, this isn't implemented in Destiny 2, I promise?
Well, that's not active. Is that Activision?
Yeah, it is.
Bungie.
That's
Yeah,
Activision.
that's right. Yeah. So they there's no confirmation of this being implemented anywhere.
Don't worry, it's a feature in Destiny 3, guys. We got your back.
God.
Or World
But
War
the
II
fact
for that
that
matter.
they patented it, it's like, here's the thing. If I were Mr. Activision Johnson, I would not
Johnson.
I
Great
would
superhero
not
name.
file a public patent that's like, look at my evil plan for selling more microtransactions. I just kind of keep that under wraps.
Yeah.
Like, this is basically like revealing your whole evil plan to everyone.
Dude, it's like Activision's Dr. Doofenshmirtz from Phineas and Ferb. It's like, you know, Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated. Like, we're coming out with the new Microtransaction-inator. Like,
I mean, this wasn't actually a public announcement either. This was a patent that was filed, which is public knowledge. So someone
Exactly.
had to dig in. Someone had to do detective work here and see that this patent was, being under consideration.
well, GG
So
on
this
them,
isn't
man.
ne-
GG, because I don't think they wanted
this
that
isn't
cat out of the
exactly
bag.
like they don't want this out there. So
Right, but
wow,
that's-
man, this is some evil stuff.
Like, what I'm saying is, don't make something so evil like in the public record. Because trust me, I went to school with some future journalists. They'll dig anywhere and everywhere to find out any shit about you, especially if
Sure.
you're a big company. Like, this is something I'd leave on my own. And the other thing this says to me is the fact that they patented it also means that they like want to use this as leverage if they find out another company is using it, and they can
Right.
like sue them. They're literally suing them. Hey, you're using our evil plan that's making us more money and screwing all the
Wow,
consumers.
man.
Give us your money.
So let me ask you guys, like
hurts.
the flip side, okay, the dark evil underbelly flip side of both of these issues, okay, with both of these companies is, do you want, now I'm not, obviously I'm on our side, right? I'm not on their side, but I think someone else would argue, do you want all games to just be $10 more across the board, flat? Do you want the price of a video game now, instead of be $59.99 to now be $69.99 or more? Because that's what would have to happen,
I mean,
right?
it
To
seems like
eliminate this kind of behavior. Is that not probably true?
I mean, it seems like they're trying to convince, the industry to go that way slowly but surely anyway, because you got, Warner Brothers coming out and 2K coming out with these different editions like we talked about
Sure,
before.
yeah.
You know
That's
what I mean?
standard practice now. Isn't there like a $700 version of the new Assassin's Creed game or something
Yeah,
stupid
it comes,
like that?
comes with some stupid statue or something.
Yeah,
Probably don't even come with the game.
but like more realistically, they're, Injustice 2 came out with what was it, the Armored Edition or like the Gold Legend Edition, whatever. Well, I know 2K had the Gold Legend Edition, which is $150 fucking dollars, by the way.
Does it come with a basketball signed by Michael Jordan himself?
No, well, you can actually buy it digitally, the $150 version, and it
You
just
can buy Michael Jordan's signature digitally.
yeah, you can print it off. It's the same thing, right?
It just prints out as they just send you like a temporary tattoo. You just put it on whatever you want. Here it is.
All right.
Michael Jordan
Right on
signed
my
this.
shoulder.
Yeah, Michael Jordan signed my can of Spam.
But
Awesome.
dude, honestly, at this point, if raising the normal price of brand new games $10 alleviates a lot of these issues, it might be something to consider.
Don't say it. Well, here's the thing. Okay, fair enough, fair play. The price of games has not gone up for about 10 years, right?
About 10 years, yeah.
Before that, it was like 18 years.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know,
$50 was the standard for new games for years. At least that's what I remember when I was younger.
Thank God, though, guys. Seriously, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. We live in a time now where there are some really fucking awesome games that are coming out for $15, $20, like Stardew Valley, SteamWorld Dig 2. There are space for those games. And look at these other games that are much shorter and more focused experience, like Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, also the new Uncharted game. Those are like very focused games, and they became better for it. Not trying to cram content and loot boxes and grinding and all that. They just want to tell a very short story and do it, well. And cut out all the fat, trim out all the fat. And I think both those games are cheaper now, aren't they? Isn't that new Uncharted game like $30-$40?
It's around 40, I think. It's
Yeah.
it's supposed to be a standalone expansion.
Right.
Yeah, and Senua's Sacrifice is $30. So that's where I'm going to put my money in, man. It's not going to be in Battlefront 2, loot boxes, all this crap. Now that being said, I have been known, to much of my chagrin, to spend some money on some loot boxes in Overwatch. But I've spent so many hundreds and hundreds of hours in that game. I love that game, and they're only things that are cosmetic. They're nothing that make you boost your level, boost your experience. I think it's purely cosmetic, and it's my choice. And I know what I'm, I know what I'm in for. I know it's like a variable reward system. You don't know, it's like a scratch off ticket, right? So I have spent money there, and it's a game I have a lot of fun with. I probably would spend money in PUBG as well, but again, these are like on cosmetic things, not on booster packs. Right, not on things to make me better in multiplayer specifically. That's just where it gets really, really shady. And then this whole patent with Activision, this sounds like some serious, like, tented fingers, right? Like, yes, I know how we're gonna.
Yeah, I picture the elusive man from the Mass Effect series, just kind of like peering over and just like, yep, it's going according to plan.
I might,
like,
I might incriminate myself here, so I'll be vague. But I worked for a company back in the day where I had to answer the phone and deal sometimes with parents that were trying to get thousands of dollars back because their kids would charge their card on microtransactions on games on a popular tablet. Okay. and I had to deal with that like on a daily basis. It's a real problem.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add on a side note real quick. So, talking about adding $10 to the price of new games, Battlefront 2 does have the Elite Trooper edition. Speaking of Battlefront 2, and which is I think 10 or 20 extra bucks, and they're doing that thing where if you get the Elite Trooper edition, you get to play the game early. Yeah.
Oh, that's a thing now. That is absolutely a thing now where the game will come out. They did it with Madden. They're going to continue doing that. They did it with, I think, the latest Forza too. So it's not just EA. But yeah, now they're doing like timed exclusive gameplay. Right. It's insane, dude.
And it just adds to the argument.
Any way to get another $20 out of you.
I hate the video game industries.
It's the worst.
AAA gaming, man.
I'm not lying. I know it sounds funny what I'm saying this, but it's the worst industry ever. Because, and not just because of this, but try working in the video game industry, like as a developer. Okay. For one, you are absolutely going to get laid off. Okay. Whatever studio you go to, when the project's over, there's a target on everyone's back. Crunch time, like literally people get divorced over things like that. Right. Like it's just an ugly, ugly industry when you know the inner workings of it. Yeah, and it's a shame. And it's a shame, and there's a better way. And this is why the rise of indie games has kind of happened, right? Because it's the response to the actions of the past.
Right. Well, you mentioned crunch time. I figured that's a good time to bring up this last little news story we have. I'm going to keep it brief, but you guys are familiar with the website Glassdoor? Leave reviews for your employer and whatever.
Oh yeah,
yeah. You can check out salaries. You can check out job openings, ratings for companies. Yeah,
I checked out Nintendo's Glassdoor one day out of boredom. Pretty good reviews. But
it's good. I mean,
yeah, people usually stay there their whole life too.
Yeah, the problem is there though is really hard to move up because everyone stays there for so damn long. But I digress.
Right, but I imagine Uncle Nintendo pays pretty well.
Yeah. So
CD Projekt Red, the golden gods of gaming, the ones who gave us that sweet, juicy Witcher 3, they've been apparently getting some negative Glassdoor reviews.
Game of the year 2015. Say it ain't so.
They've been getting negative reviews on Glassdoor from their former employers. And their explanation, like the studio released like a Twitter statement that was like explaining, like kind of, it was prompted by all of this. And to boil it down pretty simply, it was basically them saying, we like to make ambitious games. And if you don't like making ambitious games, that's your problem. Yep.
So work hard, young soldier.
Basically, they talked about how, like, with every big game they made, Witcher 2, Witcher 3, that they like basically reinvented the wheel every time. Like they used someone else's engine for Witcher 1, then they built a whole new engine for Witcher 2, then they rebuilt that engine and made it better for Witcher 3. So like every time, it hasn't been iterative, you know what I mean? Like they basically start from scratch every time. So I imagine working there must not be the easiest thing. And I imagine crunch is probably a big thing there. For those of you who aren't aware, crunch is basically that time. It's basically, cramming at the last minute for your exam, except for it's not because you were unprepared, but it's because your exam got pushed up or you didn't expect your exam to be so soon.
Got to adhere to those budgets, man.
Right.
Those timelines, those what do you call them? Benchmarks.
Yeah, you got to make the freaking investors happy, man. That's what it comes
Those
down
milestones. It's all about the milestones.
to. Right.
Yeah. So it makes me wonder if crunch is maybe a big problem at CD Projekt Red. They did mention that their studio is getting way bigger now. They're hiring so many new people, which probably might explain people get lost in all that, and they started leaving reviews for CDPR. I haven't looked at the reviews myself, so I can't really say exactly what they're saying.
I want to read the actual reviews themselves out of curiosity. But the crunch time is a big thing, but the thing is CD Projekt Red, they're the type of developer that takes their sweet time though. It's so the idea of crunch time with CD Projekt Red is kind of, I don't know, it seems kind of odd to me. Why would they be in crunch time if they've gone about saying how they take their sweet time, they put their tender loving care into all their games and things like that.
They have that Blizzard air of when it's done,
right?
You
Yeah,
get
right.
that feeling
Soon
because
TM.
their cycle times are so protracted. Cyberpunk, is there even a date for that yet?
No.
They announced
No.
it they announced it 3 years ago, right?
They mentioned it actually in their Twitter statement, because part of it was also them responding to the fact that they've been so silent about Cyberpunk. They were worried that people were worried about them, oh, is CDPR breaking up? Oh, is Cyberpunk not happening or something? And they mentioned that, yeah, we're still working on it. We're hard at work on it. That's it.
Well, their latest release was Gwent this year, if you guys remember.
Yeah.
And that was very disappointing from my point of view, just because I loved the Gwent game, the card-based. It was its own game in The Witcher 3. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I loved playing it. But then when I finally saw the Gwent standalone game, I was really horrified because I was like, oh, they're trying to compete with Hearthstone here. They're going for the casual audience here. This is not for fans of the Gwent game in The Witcher. This is for everyone else that would not play The Witcher, because it's very cartoony, very just lowest common denominator. You know what I mean when I say that? And I was like, oh, this actually isn't for me. Okay, I'll just stick to the game I actually like. Ugh. Yeah. So that's their latest release, and that took forever too. Who knows when? It'll probably be 2020 when Cyberpunk comes out. That's not even a joke.
Yeah. And I mean, here's the thing. I'm still excited to see what comes out of that game. I feel like it'll be really interesting to see, because that's a huge budget game. That's not just some trading card game.
Yeah, there's tumult in that studio, and I wonder how it's going to affect development with these, with kind of the bad news coming out of there right now. So yeah, it sounds like they're not going to change, right? It sounds like everyone's going to have to adapt to them. They don't seem very apologetic about it,
right? And I mean, it sounds like those people that left those bad reviews, they're not gonna really have any references on their resumes from them.
Yeah, but while we're kind of worried about CDPR, I will mention, shameless plug, that on GOG, which is owned by, CD Projekt owns them.
Right.
They're doing a big sale on The Witcher and a couple other RPGs. But Witcher 3 Game of the Year edition is the cheapest it's ever been. So
$20.
If you still don't have it on PC.
Oh, it's on sale PSN too. $19.99.
Yeah, and Steam. Yeah, on Steam too.
Right.
So everywhere. It's so good.
Yeah. Can't recommend it enough. So
Game of the Year edition is probably 200 hours of gameplay too for $20. It's insane.
Yeah.
If you just play the Red Baron quest line and quit, I'm okay with that. That's the best part of the game. But but there's so much more there.
Yeah, that's the first big arc of the game. But that should do it for the cynical, hate-filled news section.
Oh, what a world we live in.
Everything
else in this world sucks. Why does video games have to suck too?
Need to decompress a little bit here.
Yeah, let's decompress with a would you rather. So I'll be taking the helm here with a question this time around for this week.
I'm happy now. It's happy time.
It's happy time.
Do the happy dance.
The last 40 minutes of the podcast did not happen. Nothing bad is happening in the world.
just compartmentalize it and then just bury it down in the inner recesses of your psyche, along with all those other fears and doubts, and nothing bad will happen long term, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What is it? The quote from How I Met Your Mother: "We Buckeyes, we don't deal directly with our feelings. We just push them deep and deeper down inside and pretend they don't exist," or whatever, something like that.
Until one day, yeah.
All right, so while you're forgetting about the past 40 minutes, here is my would you rather to you guys. And as apparently is the trend, it's food based as well.
Oh,
Here we go.
It is. Get ready.
hey, we're three dudes like food.
We like
Build
Duber
it.
foodies. All right.
We're humans. We like food. We have so much in common.
We like to live.
I know. We breathe air too. Wow, I breathe air.
So, would you rather live in a world where magically somehow fast food is actually healthy for you,
Weird.
or would you rather any leftovers you heat up be as good as they were when you first ate it?
We really are food obsessed. Here.
Damn.
Yeah, these are like semantics of food.
Damn. Robert Scarpanito teaching food semantics 101.
I feel like you're asking me. The larger question is: do you eat more fast food or do you eat more takeout, where you would have leftovers, right? Because fast food, you almost never have leftovers.
Right.
I mean, I was thinking more like when you cook, or at least when I cook, I always have leftovers. But yeah, that works too.
I would definitely pick the first option, to have fast food be magically healthy, because that's like a struggle, right? When you're when you have more money than you ever have free time, like fast food is a very attractive proposition just because it's real quick and it's cheap. So that always leads to, right, like degradation in health. And I would love it somehow if I could go to a drive-thru, spend $5-6 and leave full and feel healthy and not be hungry again in another hour, right? So I would have to pick that, because I've never had that big an issue with leftovers when I do cook. I've I usually eat them within, a day or two at most. And I'm pretty good at ginning up some reheated food in the microwave. I've got my methods and my ways. And
magic.
I've never said, or it is a true skill, because you can mess up food with a microwave real easy if you don't know what you're doing. But nothing to say I can't throw some olive oil in a pan, heat it up real quick, and just throw the steak back in there, something like that. So I would go the fast food route for those two reasons.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Colin?
Man, I mean, they've gotten healthier options at fast food places over the years, for sure. But I mean, like, fast food in general, like, if it was healthy, it would make my life hell of a lot easier, because, I mean, you guys probably know better than anyone that I don't have a whole lot of time for anything, let alone,
Right.
Like we were talking about at the beginning, sitting down at a restaurant and actually having, a meal. When I do actually...
What year are you in school?
I am a senior.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you definitely don't have much free time. Probably.
No, yeah. So it's basically my version of video game crunch time right now, because this is a really important year for me. Anyway, so yeah, the idea of having the ability to just have good fast food available to me, just pay $5 or $6, like Jack was saying, and be good to go, feel good about myself. I'm not going to feel sluggish. I'm not going to feel like I have a rock in my stomach after I eat food. I'm good to go, continue on my day. Sounds like a nice payoff. And I mean, I can at least, in this situation, I'll still have leftovers, even though it would be nice to have the luxury of having perfect leftovers. It just depends what you have as leftovers, man. Leftover pizza sucks.
No, you can, here's the secret to leftover pizza, okay? If you don't know.
Microwave oven?
That would be fine, but just a real quick, easy hack, right, for leftover pizza, day-old pizza, whatever, is you put the empty pan with nothing on it, in the stove, and you put it at 425 degrees. Let the pan get really hot, okay? And then once it gets up to temperature, then put all the pizza on the hot-ass pan for like 7-8 minutes, depending on the thickness of the pizza. You want to adjust the time accordingly. But doing that, dude, you get like brand new crust every time. The cheese is melted, and it tastes I won't say exactly like it just came out of the oven the first time, but very close. You'd be very happy with it. The crust will be nice and crispy, and nothing like soggy crap out of the microwave. So have you ever tried that?
No, I haven't. That's actually that's thinking outside of the box. That's a cool idea. It sounds really similar to the result you'd get out of a microwave oven, though.
Maybe. Who knows?
Whenever I put Pizza Hut or whatever in the microwave, it's always soggy and wet.
Microwave oven, though. I mean, like the
oven.
Yeah.
Oh, I get you. Okay.
Yeah.
Life hacks.
So yeah, I think I'm gonna roll with the fast food idea. I like that.
Here, can I guys tell you real quick about something you're talking about feeling sluggish and shit from eating bad food? Like, I'm totally with you there. If I had a whole bowl of just straight up spaghetti and Parmesan cheese and red pepper flakes and all that, like, I'm out, right? I'm carved up. But we had my wife and I, something very good, and we're gonna have it again. It's kind of experimental, but a lot of people do it. We took zucchini spirals. Okay, do you guys know what I'm talking about? It looks like pasta, but it's zucchini.
Yeah, I think I've heard about those.
All right, we took this venison, like fresh venison and fresh bison mixture, and made our own spaghetti sauce, and put that on top of the spirals with some Parmesan cheese and some red pepper flakes. Man, not only was it delicious, it was truly delicious. And we were full, and we were very happy. We both had big portions, but we were not tired at all at the end of that. We could have gotten up and like walked anywhere. We could have walked around the mall, like whatever. We were not tired at all. We felt so good.
It actually sounds delicious, actually.
Dude, yeah, I got a picture. I got a picture. I'll have to show you. But man, we're definitely going to do it again. And I feel like I wish I had known about this meal sooner. It's so much better, and it's almost indistinguishable from regular spaghetti because the zucchini spirals, they hold up like a noodle do. Like they hold up under the sauce and everything, and they spiral around a fork like you would expect pasta to act. So I'm so into it, and I'm almost like it's gonna be a hard sell to go back to pasta now after having that.
Wow, that's crazy.
Huh. How much is zucchini? Is zucchini expensive?
Zucchini. Oh, all right. So if you get a spiraler, right, and spiral your own zucchini, like that's obviously the cheapest way to go. But here at HEB, they have like you can just buy this pre-spiraled zucchini in a package. I want to say it's like $4 maybe, but feeds both of us for dinner.
Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad. I don't know. I thought zucchini was expensive for some reason.
Yeah, no. Get a spiral if you're thinking about doing long term, like we are. We're talking about maybe getting a spiraler for this because you can spiral other things too, not just zucchini.
Yeah.
Like I've seen squash too. I guess holds up well, so it'll be cool. But I'll show you a picture later. It's not good for podcast, but
it's not good audio. To bring it back to the would you rather, I think personally I'd also probably lean toward the fast food thing because like I make a lot of food that has like the leftovers that last for days. Like I slow cooked a pork shoulder Saturday, and we still have food in this house of 3 boys.
Wow.
Like we still have that. Yeah. It was a lot of shredded pork.
Wow.
Yeah, so to be able to have that like as it was when it was fresh out of the slow cooker would be pretty great. But I think just the idea of like having no consequences when you go to fast food joints, right? Because that's kind of like the trade-off, right? Is like it's cheap, it's quick, but I'm gonna feel like shit. Like it's not gonna be good, right? Yeah, but to have that like negative knocked off, and I could eat all the McDonald's sweet McNugs that I want. no pressure. No.
So wait a second. So you're saying that the existing fast food is now somehow miraculously healthy? Not that they figured out a way to have healthy food.
No. Yeah, like somehow you buy a Big Mac and it's somehow like it's good. It's healthy.
Well, I mean,
it
doesn't change my answer. But now that's just more clarified for me.
No, yeah, because I mean, you can go to. That's the thing about fast food though, because you can go to just about any fast food restaurant and they have healthier options. You go to Wendy's, they have decent salads. You go to McDonald's, they have wraps to go, or what are they called? Go wraps.
But Colin, the flesh is weak.
The flesh is weak.
Yeah. Why would I buy that when I can get 20 nugs?
The dark side of the force is strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way I'm getting no salad, dude.
I don't know, dude. Wendy's salads are solid, bro. I'm just saying.
I know, but all I'm saying is the double, bro. The number 2 or the number 6, one of the best chicken sandwiches in the chicken sandwich game. All right, we got to stop talking about this.
Numbers? Why do you know the numbers?
Dude, Wendy's. I grew up with
number 6, is that a grilled chicken sandwich?
That's the spicy chicken.
Oh,
How dare-
motherfucker.
Okay,
No,
let's
that's a
not
number
let's not
9.
make everyone
Grilled chicken's
mad.
a number
And they
9.
do it easy too, right? So the number 1 is just 1 patty beef. Number 2 is 2 patties
that's
beef.
right.
Number 3 is
He's
3
right.
patties. That's so you know.
Dude, I
it's very
grew
simple.
up 100 yards from a fucking Wendy's. Okay, I ate a lot of Wendy's.
Yeah.
Okay, so that should do it for us this week for the Tiny Disc podcast. If you have any answers to that Would You Rather that you'd like to share, or if you have any Would You Rather questions you'd like us to share on the air, you can email them to us at tinydiscpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us on social media. You can go to our website, tinydisc.com. That has all of our social media buttons if you want to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, etc. If you enjoyed this podcast, feel free to leave a review on iTunes. We'd really appreciate it. It'd really help us out a lot more than you know. Or, just tell a friend, if you think they'd be interested in what we have to say, give it to them. Let them know.
Give it to your friends,
Give
baby.
it to your
Give it to your
friends,
friends.
baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Give them
yeah, baby.
the business.
Shall we shag now? Shall we
Or
shag
shag
later?
later.
Hey, speaking of shagging, are we doing Tiny Disc Drunkcast next week?
What?
Speaking of shagging,
What?
Do they speak
I
English?
guess if
and
you're
what?
listening to this part of the podcast, you're a grown adult, right? It's the grown ass man section of the podcast. Yeah, that's coming up, isn't it? That's next Friday.
That's
or
the 20.
Next what?
We're turning 21 on this podcast.
Whoa.
Okay. Just the way you brought it up. Speaking of shagging, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Like, what is that? Like the Mojo cast.
the
We're
shag
trying
cast.
to find our mojo.
Oh, this is the podcast of terrible, terrible impressions. I'm so sorry,
Wow.
everybody.
Rude. How dare you?
You look offended.
My name is Jon Snow.
What does
Where
that have
can
to do
we-
with shaggy?
You said shitty.
I think
You said
he's doing
shitty
an impression at
impressions,
this
all
point.
right?
I got you. Yeah, true to form. True to form.
Okay, so where can we find you guys online on the internet?
At booboo __55, aka Colin and Mano.
At JACCEPEDA, Mr. Cepeda, if you're nasty.
Y'all nasty. Y'all nasty.
And you can find me at Panoptimist, PINOPTIMIST. We're still doing the Foreigner Spoilercast, so if you're interested in that, stick around after the music. And if you're not interested in it, then thanks for listening. This has been the Tiny Disc Podcast, and we'll see you next Thursday.
Ohio gozaimasu.
Hello, welcome to the other side of the music. This is our Foreigner spoiler cast. So if we haven't made it apparent already, if you haven't seen The Foreigner and want to see it and you don't want spoilers on it, turn off your device right now or take out your headphones or whatever, because we're about to spoil the ever-loving hell out of whatever story this movie has.
Welcome to the cool side of the pillow, as they say in podcast world, right? That's a thing.
Yeah. I don't know if this is the cool side of the
Maybe
pillow.
if we were an ASMR podcast.
It's the hot, sweaty side of the pillow, baby.
We should do this entire spoiler cast in ASMR.
So The Foreigner was a movie. No, I'm not. All right, that's it. That's all my efforts.
Jackie Chan's back. He breaks more bones.
He's back in black.
Okay, no. So, I really wanted to see this film just because it had Jackie Chan's name on it.
Same.
That was like the big tie-in for me because I'm a really big fan of like 2000s Jackie Chan for whatever reason.
How can you not be?
Right.
Right? Like Rush Hour is like one of my favorite series of movies just because of how like silly and stupid it is.
What it is to
and
live
it's just like
for
fun.
absolutely nothing.
And nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, so I found those great, and I haven't like noticed a Jackie Chan film like since Rush Hour 3, and that was like what 2007, I want to say. I know he's been in films since then. They're not on my radar. You know what I mean?
Right.
And seeing this movie, it's pretty cool because like Rush Hour 4 has just been confirmed with Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan again, so it's like the gang's getting back together at some point in the future. But for now, we have to tide ourselves over with The Foreigner, which is like unexpected in terms of like a performance from Jackie Chan. You know, like his career is built on comedic martial arts stunts. And here he's like, give me the information. I need the information. I will bomb your bathroom.
He's like the Freddy, right? Or the Jason of the movie. He's like the nefarious force that's coming, to reap his doom and death upon
Yeah.
the poor white people of the movie.
He's John Wick.
Yeah, pretty much.
Where do I
So
even
just
start?
to be clear, only Jack and I of the three of us have seen the movie. Cullen has not
School
seen
sucks,
it.
guys. It takes
but-
up a lot of time. Doesn't let you do things.
Colin gave us our permission to spoil.
Right,
him,
because
so
it's just Jackie Chan and
he's aware.
Taken, so it's fine.
Yeah. So, all right. So, Jack, what did you walk out of the theater feeling?
The first thing I felt was, okay, the movie's over. The screen is black. Oh, wait. I totally forgot, because of the quality of this film, I totally forgot that Martin Campbell was the director until I saw his name come up. I was like, oh, that's right. That dude, what made Casino Royale? One of my favorite movies, dude. Have you seen Casino Royale?
Yeah.
The first Daniel Craig Bond film. It's a masterpiece. It's an awesome film. And so this is not that.
No,
This is
I
not
mean,
the next Casino Royale. And what's interesting is that Jackie Chan gets top billing in all of the promotional material for this film. However, he's not even on screen the most. It's really a Pierce Brosnan film.
right? A former 007.
And also, they don't even say directed by Martin Campbell in, again, like the posters, the promotional things. They say from the director of Casino Royale, because Martin Campbell has a checkered past, right, as far as his track record with films lately. So they're like, all right, Jackie Chan film. He's the main character. He's the protagonist. He's going to get revenge. His daughter was killed in a terrorist attack. And we're going to, get to the bottom of it. We're going to get revenge. I just have a lot of problems with this movie. I was thinking to myself, coming out of it, this is probably a 5 or a 6, probably for me personally. The more I think about it, the more I think about how terrible it was. And so it's probably dropped down to like a 3 or a 4, honestly, for me, for so many reasons. I mean, should I just get into it right now?
Well, yeah, sure. Go
Okay,
ahead.
I guess so. It's Spoilercast, right? So the first scene where the terrorist act happens reminded me that, oh, that's right, I'm watching a foreign film. And I don't even know what I mean when I say that. It's just, I could tell it wasn't a quality, like, Hollywood production. Did you feel that way at all? I was like, just the lighting and the camera movements and everything, it felt like it was on a budget and they were in a rush to put that whole scene together.
Yeah, I mean, consider, like, the budget for this movie is $35 million, which is like,
that's kind of standard. That was it, right? Its budget was $35 million. So I was like, oh, this is a foreign film. Okay. And then I also had a problem with Jackie Chan being referred to constantly in the film as the Chinaman. I thought we had elevated past this.
Yeah.
As they say in The Big Lebowski, Chinaman is not the preferred nomenclature, dude. So I was just like, and it's based on a book called The Chinaman, so I get it, but I was just like, if they rewrote anything in the script, that would be one of my first suggestions.
Yeah, like do something like they did in John Wick, where they called him the Baba Yaga or whatever, the boogeyman.
Like anything, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I just felt like it was a poor decision, narrative wise. And then where do I even go with Pierce Brosnan's accent? Dude, it was like a parody of an Irish accent. It was one of the worst accents I've heard in film in a long time. And I can't believe it got through. But he just want to sound like this, like all the time. Like everything I say. Look at the Irish.
Literally, like,
Not the Milwaukee terms.
I was expecting at some point. I was
Top of the morning to you.
Like fucking Jackie Chan calls him and was like, I want the information. He's like, you'll never steal my lucky charms.
Yeah, it was
like,
it was like Conor
I
McGregor,
can't-
dude. It was a joke. I was laughing at it most of the time.
like I can't do an Irish accent, but it was bad. It wasn't that great. It muddled his entire character.
Pierce Brosnan is kind of the main character of this movie, weirdly, but he's on film the most. And all the twists and turns and all the espionage and all the secret, things happen in his part, of the movie. And you rarely, I mean, it's basically Jackie Chan is a horror villain that's right. That's like scaring Pierce Brosnan into the countryside, and then he finds him in the countryside, and then he torments him there. Then he sends people to the hospital, and they can never kill him. He's like unkillable, right? And I don't know, where else do I have problems with this? I'm kind of jumping all over the film.
Yeah, I mean, do you mind if I jump in?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so when I walked into this film, my process was like, based on all the marketing I've seen, like, oh yeah, this is a Jackie Chan. I can't wait to watch this Jackie Chan film.
Yes.
And then you kind of sit there and you walk out of the film like that was a weird movie about political intrigue between the Irish and the British.
And the British. Yes, it's about this is the movie about the Irish and the British.
Yeah, and it was like produced by two Chinese brothers.
And Jackie Chan happens to lose his daughter and happens to get revenge, which brings me to another huge problem I have with this film. The moment where he kills the people that were responsible for his daughter was very anticlimactic and almost no payoff at all. It was a cool scene leading up to it, but the moment that it happened, supposed to be this, huge gravitas, like this is it, this is for my daughter. I felt nothing. I had no feelings.
Like parts of that scene were literally in the trailer. Like
yes.
Colin, if you've seen the trailer, like the scene where, that dude like goes around the corner and shoots the ground and like Jackie's actually on the ceiling and then he jumps down, like that was in the final like thing.
That was a highlight of the trailer. It was the highlight of the movie.
What the fuck?
That was the highlight of the movie.
I don't know. I think like it was nice to see Jackie Chan try to do something that's like not what he's well known for. He's known for like not being able to understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. But
wow.
But it's like that's what he's kind of known for. It's like he's that silly, like Chinese martial artist who like shows up in a lot of American
films. Is a
films.
big part of him, and he's trying his hand at drama here.
Right, and not to say that like he's not an accomplished martial artist, like it's evident in all of his films, but it's usually a means to a comedic end. Here it's like very serious, and it's not to say that he doesn't, show off his chops, pun intended, in this movie, but it's like it felt too serious, like way too like when they did close-ups of Jackie Chan's face, like especially right after he lost his daughter, like I kind of felt for him, but not really. There was like some disconnect.
So
yeah, the movie's very disconnected.
Do you think so? It's fair to say then that Jackie Chan was basically just victim of a bad script.
He is not the problem with this film. He was misused. He did the best he could with this turd of a script. I don't know. I never read the original story, but it's just not a film I would expect from Martin Campbell. I don't know what he's doing, but I think all the fault goes to him, the script, the screenplay, the directing, etc. It just fell apart, and I don't know where. I mean, maybe the $35 million went to Jackie Chan's like contract, right? But I just felt like overall it was kind of a low budget film, and I felt like again disjointed. Where I think there are certain scenes. Do you remember the scene where the flashback to Jackie Chan's daughters dying by the Thai pirates?
Yeah, that was weird.
That was a weird. I could tell that was filmed by a different company too. Like that was filmed from a completely different studio. It had no place, like narrative-wise or with the visual language of the film. It stood out on its own. That part along with the the beginning part with the terrorist attack, I just felt like was like the B Squad or something, and I could tell it was like two different movies all mashed into one. So I don't know, but I did feel for him. He did, I think Jackie Chan did a good job with what he had, because there were moments where I generally felt really bad for him. His character and the ordeal he was going through. The ending was weird too. He just goes back to the restaurant, and then the government they find him and they go, "Oh, just observe and report. Don't do anything." I don't know what that was.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
like
the girl,
we owe him one. Like,
then the girl just kisses him, and then it's over. And who was that girl? She just like was a server at the restaurant.
Well, I imagine they have a deeper like relationship, because like back like in the beginning when he was super depressed, she was like, "You can't like, can I help you?" You know what I mean? So it's like I imagine there was some relationship there, but I didn't get the sense that they were gonna kiss at the end of the film.
My main problem was that Pierce Brosnan was a terrible villain, if he was the true villain, right, of the film. And Jackie Chan was made to be the villain, where he should have been the antagonist. We should have been feeling sorry for him rather than scared of him. So. To say it was Jackie Chan and Taken is like very reductive of actually the products we get here. I think that gives it too much credit.
Yeah.
Right. Like Taken was Taken was a real good movie, real solid movie, and a real great vehicle and launching pad for Liam Neeson. This is not that for Jackie Chan. This is a real loss for Martin Campbell, and like I'm not looking forward to seeing what he does next. He hasn't done anything good since Casino Royale. Still one of my favorite movies, but who knows the factors that played into the success of that film. Right. Yeah. He gets all the credit, but who knows, what the environment was back then. My main complaint and my final thought on this film is that nowhere near was Jackie Chan in the film enough. He was misused, and underutilized completely. maybe they had like a contract, like if you're only paying him X amount of dollars, you can only have him in this many minutes of the film. Who knows? I can only speculate. Way too much Pierce Brosnan. Not a great character. Not a great arc, by the way. That whole espionage, IRA, British thing. I was getting confused because the Irish accents were so terrible and so distracting. Yeah. It sounded like they were
Banjo-Kazooie?
Dude, it sounded like they were joking. That's how bad the Irish accents were in this film.
Yeah.
Yes. So I was kind of like, all right, this is a middle of the road film, 5 or 6. Now that I think about it more, all the problems it has, I downgraded to like a 3 or 4. So I can't recommend anyone goes and sees it. If it's on streaming and you just want to check out Jackie Chan in something different, right? If you just watch Legend of Drunken Master or Operation Condor or Rumble the Bronx or Cop Story, some of his greatest films ever, then and you want to just see him do something different, then check out The Foreigner when it comes to streaming. But other than that, don't spend any money on it.
Yeah, I have to echo that sentiment. As much of a fan I am of Jackie Chan, like, again, it was cool to see him try something new. Too bad it didn't execute that well. Like, the rest of the movie around him just didn't hold up for me, I think. It just felt kind of disjointed and a little boring at times. So, I don't know.
And I saw the film for free.
Yeah, I paid for it, and I'm glad I did, just because I wanted to see something with Jackie Chan in it again.
Yeah.
But funnily enough, after I watched the film, I was like, I kind of want to watch Rush Hour 2. So
exactly. Yeah, you just want old Jackie back. Totally.
Right.
You want a palate cleanse. Like, just forget this. Let's go back to what he was doing. That was well directed.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, I kind of wanted to leave us with this, because Colin, I know that you've been giving us a lot of your thoughts on the film, so I think this will be funny for you. We keep talking about how like it was marketed as Taken, but with Jackie Chan. In the theater I was in, I don't know if they showed the same trailers for you, Jack, but they showed a trailer for the new Liam Neeson movie during this.
That's funny.
And I just couldn't help but think, like, man, that's like right on the nose, isn't it? But yeah, I think that concludes the spoiler cast.
Do you have any last questions?
I mean,
for us,
not
Colin?
really. It
Did we
sounds like
clear the
you
air for
guys hit most of the points of the movie. I didn't really think there was going to be much to the film otherwise. Honestly, it sucks that Pierce Brosnan took up most of the screen time. I hate when trailers like just mismarket shit like that. You know what I mean? Because it's obviously like they have Jackie Chan as like the set piece of the the trailer, whatever. He's like the golden boy, and he's like the top listed actor of the movie, and then they just barely use him. I hate that. I hate when movies do that. That's like
I wouldn't say. I wouldn't say barely use him. Like, he's in the film, but not near enough. Like, I don't feel like there were long periods of time where he was nowhere to be seen.
Like, he didn't feel like the star.
Right.
No, and it was awkward that he was off screen.
Right.
So much.
I mean,
yeah. Honestly, I'd love the film if it was just a supercut of all the scenes where Jackie Chan is fighting something.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that concludes this spoiler cast. Wow, for us this week. Tune in next week for another episode of the Tiny Disc Podcast. We'll see you next Thursday.
Bye.